Hey guys, got something a little bit different for you today. Thought I'd go back and analyze all the games I played back in 2021, even though I'm a little bit late to the party on this one, I realized. But I think it'd be fun for us to go back and rank all the games I played on the channel. And played a lot of fun games, so I was going back, taking a look at all of them. And definitely a few that I really enjoyed, but also at the same time, a couple major disappointments. One in particular, which I think probably most people can find out about, but I played 16 games last year, and I think it'd be, like I said, fun to go back and take a look at each of them, explain what I liked about them, what I disliked about them, why they are on the list. I think it could be a fun time. So, let's start out with number 16. So if you told me when I saw the trailer for this game back in 2020, early 2021, if you told me I thought SMT5 would be the worst game I played in 2021, probably would call you bullshit, but it wasn't necessarily that this is a bad game, it's just a very disappointing game. That's my major issue with it, right? You know, if you want to talk about the story was easily the worst part about this game, in my opinion. Like, it was so forgettable. And it was just so mediocre in my opinion. Also the characters and everything, I mean, I could go into a lot of detail about it, but I'll just cover the baseline. The gameplay was fun, right? Like, this was easily the best looking SMT game I've played. But it's like they put all the resources into the animations and the models and everything. Like, Nahubino is one of the sexiest looking SMT characters I've ever seen. But it doesn't matter if he's one of the most boring at the same time. The limited amount of choices, the just lackluster story elements, the plot line was very mediocre. You know, the lack of an overworld. You only went to the overworld like a couple times. It was just very, very meh. That's all I can really say about it. I just thought it was not that great. So yeah. It wasn't a bad game by any means, but it was definitely the most disappointing, and that's why it's number 16 out of 16. It was just not very good. Not very good, did not like that one. Okay, so number 15. Persona Q. So Persona Q got this recommended to me, and it wasn't a bad recommendation, but the problem with this was, it was the complete opposite of SMT5. The gameplay was horrendous. The gameplay was like some of the least fun I've had in a Persona game. It just was not good. Like, the first-person dungeon crawling is not for me. This was like the hardest Persona game I've ever played in my life. I was so bad, the battle system was so convoluted, it was so difficult, the random encounter system, pretty much everything going against it for me. I did not do well with this one at all. This is not a good one for me. This was very bad. So, the story was okay too, like the story with Ren and everything. It was very like filler. It was very, you know, you could tell it was a spin-off, so you can't really ask too much from it. The best thing about it was the voice acting and, as usual, the character interactions between 3 and 4. The fact that you could also play as Makoto or Yu was very cool as well. That's one of like the saving graces. If you love this game, then it's probably great, because then you gotta go black. Go black? Oh my god, go back. Go back, and you could explore. You know, you could explore a different storyline and with the different characters and everything. So that was very good, but wasn't a bad game. Again, like SMT5, I was expecting more. It just wasn't for me. So, number 14, Doki Doki. Doki Doki DDLC Plus, to be exact. So the thing is with this game, right, there was no gameplay elements, it was a visual novel. But, it had a very unique story, and some people are like very 50-50 about this game. But I actually liked how blunt and how disgusting the gore was and everything. Because I didn't feel grossed out by it, I actually thought it was necessary. And just to show that, I mean, a big thing about this game is it showcases mental illness, which I think is not talked about in games often enough. So I was pretty happy with, well, I wasn't happy, but I was intrigued by how some of the story went, and, you know, the fact there was different endings and obtaining the truth about everything with Monica and all that was, yeah, it was very, like I said, it made me very curious, and I'm glad I took it all the way to the end, even though it was a little bit sad, just a tiny bit sad. 1 second. So next we have, sorry, I was doing something on my Spotify. Next we have number 13, Phoenix Wright. So Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Trilogy. I'm talking about the first one specifically. I don't remember the name of it, but I thought the first one was pretty good. Like I said, or not like I said, but what I'm going to say is that the gameplay was, it was like fine, right? It's like an investigation game. There's not really much gameplay. I think, and I know most people are going to disagree with me on this, I think this game would have done really well with voice acting. And I know there's no voice acting in the Phoenix Wright franchise. I know it's like, well, there's never been any voice acting, so stop it. But it's like, I think it would have contributed a lot. Because the characters are usually the best part about it, like Nick and Maya and everything. But for me, you know, a couple of the cases I felt were really, really boring compared to the others. Also, the fact that it ended on that one case, I feel like the case they originally wanted it to end on in the non-remastered version was much better than the one they did for the Steam version. So that's like a little bit of a nitpick, I guess, but yeah. Still a good game though. Really good characters, and a couple of the cases were very interesting with twists I didn't see coming, so I still liked it. Next we have Persona 5 Strikers, or Persona 5 Scramble, the Phantom Strikers, very weird name. So this game, like this was like a, you know, typical Persona spin-off. It was like a little bit higher budget, a little bit higher quality. The story was easily the worst part about this game. The gameplay was pretty fun, just your typical Koei Temco type thing, but you know, I still enjoyed my time. This is like, the way I look at it is this is one of a Persona game I'll probably never play again, which is pretty weird because it is like a 40-hour game. So it's substantial. Like there's a good amount of stuff to do, but like I said, there's just not a lot of incentive for me to go back and play it. And that's something I can't really say about many Persona games, because I have replayed most of them many times, like many times, so yeah. Number 12 we have Yakuza Zero. So Yakuza Zero, here's my main gripe with the game. I feel like a couple of the story segments were much more interesting than other ones. Like I feel like Goro's story was probably a lot more interesting than Kilu. So, you know, that's kind of like a nitpick and everything, but like, you know, we gotta have it somewhere on the list, right? Well, I didn't have it last. Like, definitely the most fun about this was the gameplay. I think the minigames, the amount of minigames, the amount of, you know, the amount of stuff you could do was very fun in this game. You know, I never felt bored, which is pretty rare for a game that was 60 hours. In fact, I played the real estate minigame and the cabaret minigame so much by myself, and the amount of times I went into like the fighting den with the women, whatever, the women wrestling, that was a lot of fun. So this was good. My main problem with the Yakuza series though is, as a newcomer, it's very intimidating because, you know, there's so many games. There's so many. Yakuza Kiwami, Yakuza Kiwami 2, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Yakuza this. There's so much, and the thing is, it actually is mostly tied together. They're not like Final Fantasy. So I feel like, you know, just getting into it is pretty hard, right? You have to like give up a substantial amount of your time. So I was happy with this one though, because there's a prequel to all of it, so I think it introduces you well. Now we have SMT4, so some people are going to be like, what? This is so far on the list. SMT4, the gameplay, I just didn't like the gameplay so much, right? And I think that's because it was limited, because it was on the 3DS. Or 3DS or DS, I forget which one it was. I think if this was on a PS2 or a PS3, I think it probably would have been more fun, because they had more mechanics with the engine. But I did like the story, and this is a game that does chaos and order and neutral done right. Sort of right, anyway. But, you know, just because it's 11 doesn't mean I disliked it, right? I played a lot of good games in 2021, so you have to keep that in mind as I go down this list. So there's also a good amount of replayability value, because you can go back and do the Jonathan, or you can do the Walter, or I think her name's Isabeau. So yeah, it was a fun one. Then we have Tales of Arise. So probably most people, if you watch my channel consecutively, you probably are surprised I have this down so low. The main reason for that was the ending. The last couple stages of this game, or worlds, like Donna, were some of the most terrible. Like, it's like they lost all motivation to finish this game, and it was really depressing. If this game was 10 hours shorter and they got rid of those, this probably would have been like 7th or 8th. Which is really unfortunate, but for somebody who's never played a Tales game before, it was probably, I'm pretty spoiled because the gameplay was so fun. This is one of the most fun gameplay games I played in 2021. Now, I did play a lot of visual novels, so that's kind of, you know, doesn't really say much, but the combat in this and the amount of arts you had available and just the fact that you could play each character and they had their unique set of abilities, I think is like, it's crazy. This game would do so well with multiplayer, like your friends could play as Shion or something. So yeah, I like this a lot, you know? I'm very happy that this was my introduction to the Tales games. Okay, now we're gonna start getting into the yikes. So Danganronpa V3. Right, so this game would definitely be higher on the list if it had a different ending. I did not like this ending. I made that very apparent, by the way, when I played this game. I did not like this ending at all. It just was not good. I just didn't like it. That's all I can really say about it. It was like, how do I say it? I just disagree with everything it was trying to go for, which is too bad because I think it had one of the very good casts, very interesting story, but just that ending was so god-awful. Definitely the most fun gameplay out of the Danganronpa series, though. Especially with all the minigames and everything. Definitely had some really good aspects in there, but that ending was despair. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne Remaster. So this was easily my favorite SMT game I played this year. Demi-Fiend, I like Demi-Fiend a lot. I like Dante, but more so than that, I just like the overall setting. It felt like really, I don't know, just felt like really like a good SMT game. I'm not sure how to explain it in words so effectively, but I had a lot of fun with this one. And I think most people did too. It was a really bad remaster though, like 30 FPS and everything. It was really bad, and the sound didn't even work half the time, but the fact, keeping all that in mind, and I still enjoyed it as much as I did, yeah, probably says a lot. I don't know. There was just something about this game I enjoyed a good amount, more so than the other ones. Danganronpa UDG. So some people are gonna be like, you think UDG's better than V3? It's like, okay, I knew this was gonna happen, right? Most people know how much I enjoy the UDG series and how much I feel it's so underappreciated. I even made a video on it, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail on this because if you really want to know what I truly think, just go watch that one. But this is like a good game. This is like the Ugly Duckling or like the Diamond in the Rough that nobody played, like barely anybody. I'm not going to get into a rant or anything, but so few people played this game. But I enjoyed it a lot, and I think the characters and just seeing what happens from a different perspective in between 1 and 2. Because 1 and 2, I think... okay, we'll talk about this later. I was about to spoil something. Nier Replicant, yeah, this was like a really shocker about how much I enjoyed this one. Because once I heard it was kind of like a remake type thing, I thought, probably won't like this too much, but no. I actually like this game more than Automata. Emil and Kaine and, you know, Protag and everything, I think are like some like very, very good characters. Vice, very good. The story, though, the story was so fucking interesting, my god. It was so interesting. I went back, read the wiki like 2,000 times. I was fascinated with it. I looked at all the endings. This was such a good one, and the overall feel of it, it was so depressing in such a good way. Yoko Taro really fucking smacked this one so far out of the park. And the another amazing thing was the soundtrack. I listen to the soundtrack all the time. I'll fucking bring it up right now. I don't give a shit. This was so, so good. It was so fucking good. I loved it. Yeah, if you like the Nier series, I think you would like this one a lot. The only downside was maybe the gameplay was a little maybe the combat was a little bit but I would say for the most part it was pretty good. Fire Emblem Three Houses, yeah, whoa, shocker, I only played this about 4,000 hours. So this game, you know, it's like a turn-based combat system. You know, just the best thing about this game is the customization of pretty much forming your perfect house and then bringing them to war. But also, every single line is voice acted, and the voice acting is so good. And the story, well, the story for a couple of them, not so good, but I would say my two favorite routes in the end were definitely the Crimson Flower and definitely whatever the Blue Lines one is called. Because it's actually funny, the true ending, I think Claude is the true ending. That was actually the most boring one to me because the Golden Deer get along too much. They're too happy. I don't like it. They're too like, oh, everything's so great, it's okay. Like, no. We need some conflict up in this bitch, you know what I mean? Like, this is too, we need some despair. And that's why I like the Dimitri one so much. I'm actually very happy that I finished with the Dimitri one. Even though even though something happened to Edelgard, but that's fine. That's fine. Very good game, though. Lots of replayability value. I highly recommend you play through at least the 3 houses. Like, play through... You don't have to play the church, but at least play... Like, at least do Edelgard, Claude, and Dimitri. Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, right? So... What? You like Goodbye Despair more than these other games? Yes, I do, actually, because it has some of my favorite characters in the series. This is like... And I know it's like, what? But, okay. It's a very mixed bag. The thing is, though, the good side of the mixed bag is so impressive for me. Right? When you have, like, Nagito and Hajime and stuff. Like, Hajime... My close friends know that I like Hajime a lot and like Nagito a lot. And there's just some really good... There's some really interesting characters. Like, they seem very unique. I can talk about this more later, but... The weakest part about this game was... the ending. Again, the Junko AI thing was, like... Okay, kind of, not really though. I wasn't really a fan of that. Okay, the Junko AI was stupid, but the fact that these were all ex-Despair people was like, mwah, that was very good. I like that a lot, and I like that they were all put in there to try and heal them, and the fact that they would leave would turn them into Despair or whatever. That was like, mwah, mwah, mwah. Very good, very good. I like that a lot. And yeah, some of the cases were very good, some of them were very shit. Like, the first case with Teru was, like, okay. But, like, the case with Nagito was very, very, extremely fun. And very interesting, right? My vocabulary is really bad right now, but... That's, I like that one a lot. It was a good one. It was a good one. Very fun game, very fun game. Okay, so most people probably have never even heard of this game, or probably didn't even watch me play it, but this was 13 Sentinel's Aegis Rune. This is like another sleeper hit, which nobody fucking played. It's finally coming out on the Switch, so hopefully it gets some more appreciation. This game only released for the PS4 at the time. This was like just a really solid visual novel, because that's what it is. It's pretty much a side-scroller visual novel, that's all there is to it. But the story and the characters were so unique, nothing I've experienced in a very long time. There's just no game to compare this to. There's no comparison. There's no other game out there that even comes close to what this is. It's like very, I don't even know how to explain it. You'd have to play it yourself or watch a more in-depth video because, you know, it's got a lot of things I like time travel and mechs and robot aliens and stuff like that, and the characters were pretty cool. Great voice acting. It's fully voice acted. The only bad part is the combat but there's like a combat feature, but it's pretty meh. But I like this game a lot. Definitely, this was just no one talks about it, and so it's so unfortunate because it really was a fun title in my opinion. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Well, I think we're getting to number 1. I wonder what it could be. Anybody with any sense of elimination? Da, da, da. Trigger Happy Havoc. So, Danganronpa 1. This is my favorite out of all the Danganronpa games, and I have come to this realization after a while. The thing is with Danganronpa 1 is that there's a shock factor to it, which will never be able to be surpassed, because if you know nothing about Danganronpa, this is just like, there's just nothing that even comes close to it, right? Like, it's just like, listening to that intro for the first time and going inside and seeing Sayaka's death, I just thought, what game did I get into? Like, what is this? Who is this teddy bear? This psychotic teddy bear with these ridiculous people, and the story was so good. And they ruined it in V3! God, I hate it. It means nothing. None of this means anything because V3 exists. I hate it. Okay, calm down. Gotta calm down a little bit, but it's fine. You know, it's fine. Stupid ending. But the fact that Junko was like, I remember Junko's reveal, I didn't see it coming, because I didn't think about the fact that there was a twin. I didn't think about the fact, like, it was just, It was so... There was like little points here and there where they talked about, you know, they pretty much dropped hints about Junko being the mastermind the whole time. The cases were very good. Like, if we go by the case by case... So the Sayaka one was very interesting because, you know, she pretty much tried to pin it on Makoto, which was really fucked up, but it ended up Leon being the killer because he killed her in self-defense practically. Which I think was like crazy. That was so much despair. And then you had case number 2. I actually don't remember what case number 2 was about now that I think about it. I should really look this up real quick, but I'm not going to because I think that would be embarrassing. Oh, case number 2 was with I think that was Chihiro, right? Yeah, Chihiro and Mondo. That was pretty depressing. I mean, that was bad. But another thing I want to point out is the soundtrack in Trigger Happy Havoc is my favorite out of the bunch. Definitely my favorite. Masafumi Takada slapped it. He slapped it so hard, like completely out of the park. Really like that one. And then case number 3 we had, let's see here. I'm trying to remember, right? I'm trying to remember without thinking about it. I can think about it, one sec. I definitely am not looking it up on my phone. Fucking A. Oh my god, so many ads. This is such a shit site. Fuck, get all these ads on my site. There we go. What? So this guy had Sayaka's murder? Okay. Case number 3. Oh yeah, that's when Taka and Hifumi died. That's right. They were so forgettable, sorry. That was interesting because it was 2 different people doing the killing. Sakura's suicide, I guess that was like a kind of a mediocre one. Well, it was kind of interesting, right? Because no other person really committed suicide. Except for Nagito. Then case 5 and case 6, that's when you start getting into the juiciness with Mukuro and everything. Yes. It was so... it was so good. I love it. I wish I could replay that game again without knowing what happened. That's like one of those games I wish I could go back in time and play it. Because it was just so exciting, and oh man, I played it in like 5 days or something. I was just like playing 5 hours a day. That's when I had like so much schoolwork and I was so busy with my job, but I still managed to fit in the work. And yeah, I'm going off in a tangent, but the thing is, I had a good amount of fun with games I played in 2021. It was like a pretty good year, right? Like the thing is, though, I don't think 2022 is going to be as fun. Now, I say that, but I've actually been having a good amount of fun so far this year. The main reason, though, is because, you know, we pretty much played through every single Danganronpa. Danganronpa, we played through 1/4 of every game I played through in 2021 was Danganronpa. And that's like a pretty crazy statistic when you think about it. So, you know, what do we have? What do we have in 2022, right? I mean, like, you know, we got, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, that's like okay, right? The thing I am looking forward to, now you guys don't know about this because I've only just started uploading videos for it, is AI Nirvana Initiative. It's gonna be so good, because Somnium Files was so good, and it's coming out in June. We also have Soul Hackers 2 coming out in August. It's gonna be another good year. It's gonna be another good year. We've got a good amount of games coming out. Pretty excited for all of them, but definitely spoiled. 2021 was definitely spoiled, even though it was a dog shit year for me. But the games I played were pretty good, so I had a lot of fun with them. And most of all, I hope you all enjoyed watching me play them. Because, like I said, it was a good time. And keep on bringing on the good times, that's what I gotta say about it. What did you think? Out of these games, which of these were your favorite? Because I actually am interested to know. I think probably most people would agree. Probably some people out there would probably say like SMT3 or something, but I think probably most people maybe agree with my list for the most part. Maybe. I don't know. There's always different opinions, right? But yeah, I just decided to do this video because I think it would have been fun. Would have been fun to go back and rank all the games, a little whack some nostalgia. Yeah, but that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you for the next one.